I thought maybe I should show you a bit of the view that I have right now. I am in the middle of the forest. So please, if you value my effort and you appreciate these reviews, please give it a like. That really means a lot to me. And please subscribe as well so I can continue making these videos for you. I have a good time doing them and I hope they're useful. That's my motivation to help you out in deciding which tools and gadgets you could get for the best of your money and also the best of the functions and capabilities for each of them.
Hello everyone, welcome again to another review. In this case, we will be taking a look to the Casio ProTrek 240. Please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you like these videos. As always, you can see the agenda right there. I will not start with all the points because we have a lot to cover, so let's start with it. I will not bore you by doing measurements right here, but you can check this image with all the specifications regarding the diameter, regarding the height, and also this measurement here, how long it is from this point to the top. But what I want to give you is actually a comparison so you have an idea how it looks like. This is a G-schock 5600. It's a special one, as you can see, is made with carbon fiber. If you want me to review this one, please let me know in the comments. And as you can see, how big the ProTrek is in comparison from the thickness. Also, you can tell over there. Next one, I have another type of watch for sure. This is an Orient Ray, and you can see the diameter is really big in comparison. Here, this one has 42 millimeters, and yeah, you can tell how big the ProTrek is. For the width, not so much the difference because you can see it's more or less the same. This is of course a mechanical watch, a total different one. So if you want me to make a review of this one, please also let me know in the comments. And another G-schock that I have here is a GD350. This one is relatively big in comparison to the other G-schocks, but you can see still it's a bit smaller than the ProTrek. When you put it like this in the width, then it's more or less the same size. So also if you want me to make a review about this, please let me know. And I just wanted to show you how big this watch is. Okay, so let me present you the watch itself. So as you can see here on the other side, you have the bezel, which you can rotate in order to mark the direction you are going or you want to go. This is not so good, as you see, this is a bit loose, but we will talk about this later. You have on the bottoms, this is not one, but this is the sensor, as you can see, and this is really sensitive, so I suggest you not to smash it, at least not on this side. Then you have the mode button here. Then on this side you have the ABC, so you have altimeter, barometer, and compass. And here at the bottom you have the adjust and the light. To press the light here, you have these groups that perhaps will help you to identify it, but you can see how flash they are. You can see the watch itself here, and it is really hard to press them when you are with your finger like this. This makes nothing, so you just have to press until you hit it, and then you have no feedback basically when you press these buttons. It's really flash. So what else? So you have this one in particular is made of titanium. Also they say, I didn't test it, I don't know how can you test this, do you have an idea? But at least it feels metal. This part of course is the one that I mean. And here you see that all of this is this titanium, but it is not all of it. As you can see, this also looks the same color, but this is titanium or metal and this is plastic. The paint match, yeah, it matches really really well. I have no problems with that, so it looks not much different. When you're wearing on the wrist, you don't notice that this is plastic and this is metal. Not at all. It's a really good job over there. Let me get this, which is a bit hard with these gloves, but I need them to show you the watch here inside. What else do we have here? On the inside, you have the solar panel, this black part that you see on the outside. Then you have some indicators. This is hours, 24 hours, 22, 20, and so on. This will be useful. You will see later. Then you have here on the screen itself, you have the day, but you can change that when you press the button adjust. If you press it shortly. And there you can see how nice it is. That I have troubles with that. Yeah, I have the gloves, but yeah, just trust me. So you have 2021, you have the year, press it again. You have the pressure changes. I will tell you this later. And then you have the day of the week. Really nice. You have here the month and the day. 25 is today. So you have the hours, you have the minutes, of course, and the seconds. On this side, you will have all kinds of information that I will tell you later how you can understand this. And here you have the battery indicators, low, medium, and high. I have to say that after having the watch for around 2 years or more even, 3 years, I would say, that when I was wearing the watch, I always had high, and after 2 months or so that I was not wearing this watch, the battery always was in medium. So I never had the case with the battery went low. So that's really good regarding the battery life. So let's see then what you can configure if you hold this adjust. We have the city, which you have to insert. Then let me press the mode button here. Daylight saving time, as you can see here on the left, it's off. The format of the time, 24 hours or 12 hours, so AM and PM. You can adjust the seconds, the hours, the minutes, the year, the month, and the day, which you would expect a watch to let you do. So you have here the buttons. They can have a noise or a sound when you press it. I don't like it, so I leave it in mute, but you can change it. Maybe we can leave it like this so we can see. The light, when you press this button, you can put it in 3 seconds or 1 second. Actually, it's 1.5 seconds, but I like 3 because then it's useful. Power saving, I like this because when the solar panel detects that there is no light, it goes to sleep. So I find that really interesting to save battery life. And it is really quick when the watch shows nothing on the screen. Then you can press any button and it comes back to life to show you your precious time. So then you have the unit for the altimeter, the barometer. You have the temperature too, of course, Celsius, hectopascals, and meters, or you can change to the other system as well. So that's it. When you press adjust again, I will not show you, but then you can put the coordinates of where you are. This is interesting because when you want to know the rise and sunset time, you need this information. So then you can put it again. So let's go back to the time. Okay, let's continue then. For each function, let's see what we can do. As you remember, I set the tone for each key pressure now, so bear with me. First thing, as you can see, it's that when I press that button, there is like a needle or so showing in which mode you are. And in this case, you can see that this makes sense now when we go from time to sunrise or sunset. And this is why I told you it was important to put the right coordinates, the north and east coordinates where you are. So then you have a proper sunrise, as you can see, showing up, and the sunset here at the bottom. And I will show you now a picture, what Google says about the sunrise and the sunset time of where I am. And you can see that it is really, really accurate, as you don't have many degrees to write. You have 1 decimal and the degrees that you can give, so it is really accurate. for that. So what else? As you can see here, that's why I told you at the beginning too, that the time here with 24 hours, 2, 4, 6, 8, it's interesting because you have this one here showing you that the sunrise is at 8 hours. And as you can see, it corresponds to the time that it shows here. And the other one, it is at 17 hours, 10 minutes. And when you see the hours, then you have around 17. Here, I'm sure 17, 10 minutes that. So then you have that sunset time. And you can see this is here the time that you are now. And it is already between 18 and 20. So if you count, it's around 19, which is the hour that we are now. So it's really cool because then you have kind of like a really good idea of how much daylight you have left, especially if you are outside. And then you see that you have this needle here, which is flashing, and you see it here. Then you have to think, oh, okay, so I have 2 hours and 30 minutes left of light. And you can see really nice also when you are at the maximum daylight. Here in the middle, you can see, oh, it's around 13 hours, so 1 p.m. if you are speaking in that system. So this is really interesting. I really like this, and this is very useful as well. And as you can see, after a time, it goes back to the time modus again. So let's go then to the next function. So as you can see, there you have. Recall this is related to the altimeter, so we're going to check this later with the ABC functions. We are just going to focus on the watch functions only. And then you have the world time. And as you can see, again, you have all these cities that when you see here, you have Rio, have that configured, and you see here you see the time of that city. And also again, when you see this outer part or the inner part of the vessel here, you see that 15 is around here. So it shows you the time of that city. And then here at the bottom, it shows you the time of the city you are in. And this flashing also represents, again, as you can see, 19 is here. So it represents, again, in this analog form, your time, which I find that really cool. And of course, you can scroll through the cities and you have a reference of where the cities are located in comparison to yours. So let's go then to the next one. And then we have, of course, a stopwatch. And as you can see, you start with this one, the altimeter button. Then you have the measurements and seconds. And then you have also up to 24 hours, which I find that really interesting because there are many models from Casio that doesn't let you measure hours. There are many that only reach 60 minutes, which is not a good thing if you want to have an outdoor watch. So you reset also pressing this one. And you also have the possibility to measure split laps. So you start with this one, with the altimeter, and then you press the compass. This is the time that you split. And then if you want to resume to the time that you were measuring, so it continues running in the back, then you press compass again, and then you will see the time that was moving parallel to the pressure of this button. But you can also stop it like this, and then reset it. Then you stop it, and then you stop the parallel time running. And when you press altimeter again, it will reset the time. So let me try that again. So main function, start, stop, and reset. Then start, split, continue measuring, or split, stop, and then here you see the time that you stop, the time that was run in the back, and then when you press again, it will reset completely. So you have kind of typical from Casio to have this function of the split time for the stopwatch, but you have 24 hours, which is really, really cool. And even cooler is that if you can see here in the screen, I started just to show you that the time that is, the time that you are in now, it is always here at the bottom, which also is not common for some G-Shocks or some other products from Casio, that it doesn't show you the actual time when you're using the stopwatch. This is really cool. So let's go then to the next one. Let's stop it. Okay, let's go to the timer. What does the timer do? Yeah, it goes backwards in time, of course. And this one, when you press the adjust button here, you have to hold it. There you go. And then you can give also 24 hours. So you have basically 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds. Or what you can do, you leave it in zero, everything in zero, like this. Then you press adjust, and then you start also with the altimeter button, and they will come from 24 hours exactly. So the same thing, you reset it, you stop it, and you reset it with the compass button. And also, again, as you can see, you have the current time here below, which is wonderful that it lets you do. One thing to consider is, let's see, back again, you can adjust the minutes, the hours, so now it's the minutes, and you cannot adjust the seconds. Something that some models of Casio let you do, but it is rather common that they let you adjust only the minutes, like for the timer. So you cannot adjust the seconds. It's a bit of a pity, but it's not really useful if you think, what kind of watch is this? It's meant to be outdoors, not to be used in indoors or for laboratory or for other kind of measurements that you need to do. So let's press adjust, and then let's go to the alarm. You have fire alarms, and also you have the signal alarm. So the way that you see it, the signal alarm is on, and you turn it off with the barometer. Funny enough, because with the altimeter and with the compass, you scroll through the alarms. So then you have alarm 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Really well equipped with so many alarms. But I must tell you that the sound is not so powerful that will wake you up from a nap, or even when you are sleeping over the night, it will not wake you up. Sometimes even when you're awake and you put something to remind you, like to do something, it's not so loud that most likely you will miss the alarm. So I will put this on as I like it, and then let's see if I can set this alarm. So we can test it. Let's press the adjust button, and then let's put it for the next minute, and maybe we can see. As you can see here also at the bottom, that this symbol of the alarm is on. This symbol of the bell here means that the noise or the, okay, you can see, or hear better. It's a bit loud when you have it here outside, but perhaps if it goes under your clothes or so, when you are wearing the watch, it will be a bit muted. But if you have it like this, you can see that it was a bit loud. As I was telling you, here you have the symbols. This one means that the buttons will make a tone when you press them, and then the power saving function is on. So let's press that again, and then you can see that you go back to the main menu. So that's it for the watch functions of this wonderful piece. So until now we were looking only the boring functions of every watch. Even this one has this. Of course not. I mean, Casio has really developed a complete module in this ProTrek, and all these common, and I say common, functions that you find in any digital watch nowadays, then you also have some other things in this one which makes it special. And I'm talking about the ABC as well. And as you can see on the side, as I showed you in the beginning, ABC altimeter, barometer, and compass. So as it is ABC, we have to start, of course, with the B. So here we are. I'm sorry it takes so long. It is 1 second of your life. And nowadays, the smartphones have given us only half a second to access to the wide information on the web. But this is something that you can trust, and it is something you can take on your wrist, and it can last a long, a time, even more than the battery of a smartphone. So let's give it some love to this nice watch. So as you can see here in the middle, you have the pressure. On top, you have the temperature, which you can also measure. Really nice. Here also, thank you, Casio. You can see the time, the actual time. And on this part, you can see the graph of the pressure variation. Because the way that you're going to read this display, it's not like you're going to count 1, 2, 3 means, I don't know, 500 hectopascal or something like this. You are only going to watch how this varies. And then in the horizontal axis, you have the time, and each division is 2 hours. And on the vertical axis, you have the variation in pressure. I will put a graph here to the side so you can see more in detail, perhaps bigger, how this looks like and how much you have to understand this behavior. This is something really cool because you can understand when the weather is changing, and this is something that in my experience was really useful, especially if you're in the nature and you can understand how the weather changes according to the pressure, or how the pressure shows, better said, how the weather will change. So you should pay attention to this one, and it can predict some storms and something like this. So I would really advise you to read what the pressure looks like. And what do you think? The pressure goes up when there is a storm coming, or the pressure goes low? Something really interesting that you should pay a lot of attention is how steep these changes are. If you see something really steep, like in this case, you should consider something about it. But what? Should you be worried if it goes up, or should you be worried if it goes low? Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, justify it with science. How else? So, okay, what else do we have here? You can also hold this adjust. Then, what does it do? It lets you calibrate the degrees, the temperature, of course, or the pressure. I suggest you to not touch these ones because they are really well calibrated. And how else would you do it? Do you have a laboratory certified one to calibrate this? Yeah, I wouldn't touch this. Just let it be. In 3 years that I had this watch, they never failed. So I trust this, at least from my side. Let's continue then with the other part of the watch. So as we started with the barometer, and it is an ABC watch, what should we follow with? Of course, you guessed it, with the altimeter. So when you press this, again, it takes 2 seconds, but then you have the information you so much want to know. At the center, you have the altitude, 275 meters. You have the time, thank you, Casio, again. Here on this part, you have a 5 now. What is it? If you could see perhaps before, maybe you can rewind the video. Ah, there you see it. Okay. As you can see, this is the difference in meters from the initial measurement. This is really cool. Here on this part, you see another graph. And in this case, you have the altitude in meters. And then you have here the time, of course. So how do you measure this? Are you going to count every time that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and mean something? Exactly not. Of course, again, you see the variations, and this is what you should pay attention to. So the variation is what matters in this case. What else do we have? Something really interesting is that you can change how often this will be updated. And if you hold the adjust, you can calibrate the height, and this is really useful, and this is something that you should do, and I strongly suggest you to do it. You will see in the test and the real life application how bad this can be because the altimeter takes the altitude based on the measurement of the barometer. So when you have a cloudy day, perhaps your altitude will change even if you are seated in the couch doing nothing. So please pay attention to this when you start a hike or something. Again, not you shouldn't use this as a measurement of the absolute value of the altitude. You should use it only as a relative. So as a difference of how much high or how low you went in your hike. So please take that into consideration. So you should get a known altitude in your map or a known altitude, perhaps with a GPS or so, and then you can set it here and calibrate it. As you can see, you have only steps of 5 meters, which is good enough to be detected. But if you press the mode button, you can change the intervals that I told you before, and you can measure every 5 minutes or every 2 hours. So you can change this like this according to your needs. I put it in 5 minutes because then let's go back then with adjust. This button is really tricky. I really don't like those. But then you can see that the graph will be more interesting because each bar, vertical bar, or each segment here on the horizontal axis will be 5 minutes in this configuration. So this is really interesting. Also, as you can see here, the 5, if you press the adjust, what does it do? I don't know. I'm not the reviewer. Here you can see that it resets it. So you have a 0 here. Also related to the altimeter, if you remember before, you go to the mode button, and then you go again. We have sunrise, sunset. When you go to rec, means recall. And you have here 2 memories for your recalls. You have the different altitudes for the descents. And if you press the altimeter or the compass, you can scroll through it. The maximum height, and you can see it is saved in the memory number 1, the minimum, the ascendance, the descendants, and so on. So this is really cool, and you can see the time, or basically the day in which this data was recorded. So it's really nice to have in consideration. If you want to know in detail about this, how to use it, please refer to the manual, because it makes no sense that I teach you how to do this if you are just deciding that maybe you want to buy this watch or maybe you want to use it. So please refer to the manual. I will put a link here in the description below. It's not so hard. So the next thing, so we were done by the altimeter. Of course, you have the time at the bottom, as I told you before, really nice and really useful as well. I know it's boring, the theory is boring, but look, after this you will see the test in real life, and you will see freezing myself in the mountains just to check if this thing works or not. So you go to the compass, nice animation, and you can see that beautiful thing here, that the needles here, or this analog hands, shows you in the thicker one, the north, as you can see, and this is the east, of course, but you see how they are jumping around. And no, I don't have a machine here generating or alternating the magnetic field, for sure not. What I have is that this watch is tilted. And this is something that you should be really careful when you have a compass. Doesn't matter which. I also compared in the test to this compass. It's really cheap one. It's attached to this watch. Actually, I use it here. But this is also like a, I would say like a support in order that this doesn't work or it is touchy, because you will see, of course, this also you should place it horizontal, but this one is really sensitive to the inclination. So when I put it, let me check, more or less horizontal like this, then you have the direction. Let's see what this one says. here at the bottom. Let's put it in that way. So almost north, like that. And let's see what this one says. Of course, I will aim in the same direction. Yeah, almost north. And you can see this one here. But of course, if you tilt it like this, then forget about it. So you have to, of course, when you are using the watch in your hand, you kind of have an idea how horizontal looks like. So horizontal looks to me now, as I am uncomfortable looking through this phone that I'm recording with. Horizontal looks more or less like that, I think. Yeah, something like this. And you can see that is rather accurate. This is without me measuring anything from the side, just my intuitive appreciation of what horizontal looks like for a watch. So when you're wearing the wrist, then you can do this without a problem. That's about the compass. And of course, another function I have, sadly, this only takes measurements for 20 seconds, but you should be able to tell the direction in that time. If you press adjust, well, you will see here, we'll do something similar. Then with the altimeter, in this case, it deleted. Here, this number that was on the top, let's say if we can put adjust again, then you can record the last measurement. See, so it was 293 degrees, which it was the last measurement, or something that you want to perhaps go. You're navigating and you say, oh, I want to go in that direction. Then you press adjust, then deleted it. So let's press it again. And you can see it recorded that direction. So every time that you are walking, enjoying your hike, and then you come back and say, oh, I had to go in 223 degrees. So then you see, where was it? Where was it? Oh, that direction. Perfect. The same you should do with this bezel. So let's say you wanted to go to 223 degrees. You don't have that resolution, but let's say that it is more or less, that's 230. Let's say something like this. Always put it on the 24 hours indicator. So that's, you have as a reference. That's what I mean here, the 24 hours. So you remember where to look at. So let's say you wanted to put more or less there. And then you set it there, and then you walk, then you enjoy your trekking, then you put this under your sleeve, and then somehow it is touching something, tra-la-la, and then you go, oh, what direction should I go? 140. And then you are completely lost because this is really bad. This bezel shouldn't be taken serious. This is something to play with. This is something that you could show to your kid, to your friends, to your nephew. So it looks cool, but it is useless. It is so light that when you are with your clothes, you can see how easy it is to rub it against, and then you can just change the direction, and then you are gone. So please don't use this. Better use this digital. I think that's why they put it. So press it again to show you compass. That is cleared, and then you say if you want to go to the 200 degrees, you press adjust, or 194. Of course, depends how horizontal you put this. As I told you, please keep it horizontal to the ground. And then you have the direction saved there. So when you go out to another modus, and then you start here, go to the compass, this is still saved there, and it doesn't matter what position this thing is. So that's about the compass. You will see in real life how this performs.